Ka o te awa, ka te awa ka au. Whakatakata hau ki te uru, whakatakata hau ki te tonga, kia mā kina kina ki o ta, kia mā taratara ki tai. E hi ana te au tukura, he te au, he huka, he hauhu, ti hei, mauri ora. Kia ora, koutou katoa, talofa lava. Hello everyone, ko Bianca Iono toku ingoa. And this is the very first time I'm officially recording my podcast, Healthy, Wealthy and Living Pono. The karakia, the prayer that I just opened with, what I was saying was, I am the river is me. Cease the winds from the west, cease the winds from the south. Let the breeze blow over the land, let the breeze blow over the ocean. Let the red-tipped dawn come with the sharpened air, a touch of frost, a promise of a glorious day. I really, really love my te reo journey of just how poetic Indigenous languages are. And so my intention for this podcast is really to be giving back and giving first of all the beautiful insights, inspiration, downloads I've had. Probably the journey that I've had this year is probably one of the biggest motivators. But really this podcast is about the soul-led entrepreneur and feeding the fire of our souls. You know, it's about stoking the eternal flame of adventure in the heart of entrepreneurs, the ever enterprising spirit. And this podcast is for you if you want to scale your business and create your next level of income from your true purpose. If you want to claim and embody a bigger expression of your truth, your authenticity, and your impact. If you want to make 10 times the income with 10 times the ease, and you're calling in and claiming more choices for yourself now. The ability to retire your husband and travel the world, or you're, being the provider for your spouse. The flexibility to create life-changing memories with your family, creating next level impact on the planet that lights you the F up. But you've been weighed down and held back from really going there because of that burn and churn patriarchal business model that I guess we've always been taught is the way. The ones that offer you guaranteed results if you just do exactly the system, exactly what they tell you to do. And then realizing it just leaves you burnt out and resentful. So if you're here and you want to find a different way, a better way to create success without sacrifice, to scale with soul, there's a part there where we know, we can acknowledge that we've bought into that BS belief that, we can either have money or peace, but not both. And when you've not fully owned your matriarchal power and where you've been attracting disempowered clients, this is the work that I help my clients do, helping us shift all of this and embody your unapologetic power, your unapologetic divine feminine power. Whether or not you're a man or a woman, this has a lot of potency there for you. So just to give a little recap for my story, I probably found in about February of this year, I definitely was in my most disempowered circumstance, having 4 young children under the age of 7, I had a family business that went down. It's kind of like, and still being expected to be the matriarch of the family, being the sole primary caregiver for the children, as well as take on the bulk of debt, past debt, and, take on the load of income producing for the future. And I was also in my most disempowered state, disempowered in terms of the people, the clients that I was serving. I was attracting clients that I guess my prosperity was dependent on their prosperity, on them actually actioning what I was teaching them and then going out and amplifying that. So it wasn't really me being in my power. It wasn't me expanding into that power. And it was a very, very stressful, scary time. Since that time, I have really called in a lot of support, incredible support, spiritual, strategic, tactical, financial, and it's really enriched and enhanced my life in a number of different ways. So one of the things I help people do is create personal sales results, personal sales bests, without succumbing to the emotional roller coaster and without burning out. And that's what I've managed to do. Like, in the face of enormous complexity in my private life, my personal life, I'm now in a place where my monthly revenue, recurring revenue, is constantly expanding. I'm creating multiple five-figure months, running a six-figure, soon to be multiple six-figure business from that place. And so much of it kind of feels like I'm actually just retired. Like, I don't feel like I'm in that hustle burnout mode at all. And there's a real sense of ease. It's like the river goes, back and forth and back and forth. There's just a beautiful flow and rhythm to it all. So this is really my intention, to offer that healing to others who I really know are crying out for that kind of expansion in their income, where they're really often at a impasse of, like, I can create this amount of income with this amount of effort, but I'm capped now at this glass ceiling. And when people are at that impasse, when they realize that there's, they can't keep pushing ahead, they can't, if they, it's like a Rubik's Cube, that is maybe only one or two squares off track. And that when something is only one or two bits out of alignment, it's completely out of alignment. We have to start again, reverse everything and build it back up. So this, I offer a program called Scaling with Soul, Scale with Soul. And this is the place where you explode your revenue and profits in total integrity without the emotional roller coaster or burnout. It's really about the embodiment, becoming the version of you who magnetizes your desires fast with ease. And I've managed to do this with an incredible team on my side, including plant medicine, including specifically been working with ayahuasca and wachuma, and even peyote as well. And I've really, really coming from this place of looking at the indigenous wisdom and how much that can help us in our everyday lives, living in a modern Western society. And when we combine these two, we can really have this limitless power. We go from trying to force things and being in this cycle of forcing, of, burning out, of trying to give our power away or diminish ourselves, and then feeling flat and exhausted. And instead, when we move into this matriarchal success flow of magnetism, we really can empower ourselves. It's really about healing the relationship to the divine masculine and empowering the divine feminine, so that we can be both heartfelt and connected leaders in our communities, and speaking with authority, but also being powerful catalysts for positive change. And when you recognize your role in the natural order of all things, this is what I recognize as us being a channel for that higher wisdom and bringing it down into the 3D reality, so that the joy, the vitality, the energy that we feel illuminates us and illuminates ourselves, and being beacons of hope and light and transformation for others. And that ripple effect means that the abundance that we feel and the joy that we feel on the inside creates the ripple effect that is reflected in our natural environment. So, it's really when you can tune into the whisper of your soul and amplify it, you write with more purpose, you speak with more conviction, you map out a vision more boldly of what is possible for your people with the transformation that you facilitate. You hold the frame that is transformation is actually achievable with your help, and you hold that more strongly. And as a result, you make more sales with ease. You attract your absolute dream clients. Your magnetism enhances, your work becomes more potent. And there is a divine union of that masculine and feminine energy when building a business that scales with soul. So what is like, what isn't scaling with soul? What is scaling with blood, sweat, and tears, scaling with sacrifice? I guess what has really led me to this place is that I have been behind the scenes of many, many very successful businesses as a health and wellness practitioner, you know, six-figure businesses, 7-figure, 8-figure businesses. And so much of what goes on behind the scenes as a wellness practitioner, I was like, you know, if I realize that your way of teaching people how to sell, or your way or your advice that, you know, to implement in business, if I had have known behind the scenes what your values are, how that advice is playing out for you, there's no way I would be listening to you. There's no way I would trade what my values are, you know. And I'm talking about when, you know, when people are sort of promoting a certain pace in business or a certain methodology or a certain strategy, let's say, you know, cold outreach in your sales. And then you see behind the scenes the effect, the long-term effect of that, the exhaustion, the burnout, you know, the crippling effects of that kind of burn and churn way of doing business. And, you know, your business and your body are not separate. Your business is an energetic extension of your nervous system. So, you know, when I sort of see these things happen, I see the relationships that get burnt along the way. It's not just burning and churning your own energy. It's burning and churning leads. It's burning and churning dollars. It's burning and churning opportunities, relationships, personal ones, professional ones. You know, where I really see the cost of how somebody has been doing business has affected their parenting, their ability to be present with their family, their, you know, like having extramarital affairs, like all of those things happen and correlate with how somebody decides to, how they lead their business is also how they're leading their life. And if you don't want to take on how they're leading their life, you know, if you unbeknowingly are doing that. You know, I was working behind the scenes of a business that was turning over 300,000 a month, and it boggled my mind. I was like, well, obviously they know what they're doing. And I started working for them, and I just was hooked in straight away, immediately, because of the branding. And I thought, oh my gosh, you know, in hindsight, I was like, I just got sucked into the worship of money, the worship of celebrityism, the worship of, like, you know, of fashion, of what we're meant. It's like a facade of what femininity is meant to be. It's like a caricature. And, you know, I was, you know, enthralled and tranced. I want to know how, you know, how this person went from, you know, $100 sessions into being a multiple 7-figure business. And I very quickly found out that the 300K a month was not a reflection of their achievements, of their worthiness, of their success. No, it was a reflection of their frenetic energy, how much they were willing to trample over others. You know, there was a constant revolving door of team, as I'm looking in all the onboarding videos, and I'm like, that person's not here anymore. That person's not here anymore. And, you know, I got cheated out of commission. It was so ridiculous. And it realized, oh, okay, you know, it's like somebody very hollow on the inside, preaching about feminine empowerment, feminine financial empowerment, and then yet behind closed doors is doing the complete opposite, you know, emasculating their husband on camera, even ignoring their child. What else? You know, like, and then, oh, you know, being hospitalized for deep health issues. And it didn't take me long, but it was such toxicity of like waking up in the morning and I've got all these voice messages in my inbox, and like just it's like toxic gas, the anxiety, the freneticism, where you're waking up to just like brain vomits, like energy vomits, energy burps in your inbox, getting somebody, to like try to make you, I don't know, go on their pace. And I was only in that organization for 6 weeks, but I was like, oh my God, I feel like I need a purge. This is like toxic. This is a toxic environment. So my real intention for this podcast is to help dilute, help detoxify the greater collective consciousness that I guess pedestals this money, pedestals this celebrity worship of like, oh, they've got more money than me, so therefore they must know more than me. And realizing that when you're a heart-led, soul-led entrepreneur, especially, I think that when you're those things and you are also a wellness practitioner, you are very sensitive to the natural laws of things. So, like I'm still detoxing from this idea of strategies that work for marketers, that work for people who are, really logical and linear. It's lovely that it works for them. But when it comes into my system, it's like junk food. It's like static. It doesn't work for me. It dilutes my power. And so I guess really helping people access that inner knowing, access the power that is in divine union with your higher self wisdom, within your body, feels good in your body. It grounds into the world and it creates a positive ripple effect. When you are not in alignment, it means that there's little splinters of integrity within your energy field. If you think about that as like, I look at it as 4 concentric circles. So your innermost core part of who you are. And then the next level, the next outer ring is how you are. So who you are being, how you're being. Then the next one is what you are doing. And the final one is like the experience that you are having and how you interface with the world. When you are out of alignment, it's like you've got little clinks, little cracks in and splinters of integrity within this energy field. And when you are these splinters of integrity, it's like the Leaning Tower of Pisa. It's like if you are 1 degree out at the bottom, you're 100 degrees out at the end. And there are chasms of consequences that start with just little tiny splinters of integrity. It doesn't mean that I'm saying that people are like who ignore those splinters of integrity are bad people. It's really been an awakening of realizing that everybody's doing the best that they can with the tools that they've got, and they are congruent within their own level of consciousness that allows them to do this. If people would know better, they would do better. And I think there's a real part of like how deep you've gone, how the depths to which you have braved in your own life, and how you've pulled yourself back up from there. Firstly, you can't hold somebody else and a client through something, deeper than what you've gone through yourself. And secondly, when you have gone through that, so it's like part of your soul gifts that you've gone to the depths, but the other part is that when you are really sensitive and and you can see these little splinters of integrity that are out of alignment at the start, then you're not willing to go through the whole process just to prove that that was a bad decision, or that wasn't in alignment, or that wasn't in integrity. So this really is a conversation about alignment, right? Really deeply looking at what that means, falling more deeply in love with your skills and your talents, and recognizing also that we have just our own unique gifts our soul gifts. It's kind of like our DNA, our spiritual DNA. So when when you have that spiritual calling, when you have a calling just to go and do something, or just pulling, you don't know why, you're just compelled to do that. What I see really happening is this is you channeling your soul mission from those higher realms and those higher planes. So when you have this vitality, it's like just following the aliveness, following what excites you, following what lights you up, what makes you happy. And as you start to bring that down through the 5 planes of transformation, or the 5 bodies, your spiritual body, your mental body, your emotional body, your energetic, and then your physical, that vision, that vitality becomes a vision. It becomes something you can see. It's like, I feel this, like a spiritual calling towards something is when it's in your spiritual body. Then you start to get an idea about what it might be like. Then it starts becoming more dense. You start feeling a certain type of way about it. You get emotions around it. Then it starts to have its own frequency, its own vibe. It starts to like take non-physical form in the energetic layer. And then it gets into the physical, which is when it's birthed. And this is where you're like, okay, now it's actually out there in the world. And this is very much what I see about when we bring our soul calling, bring it down into the earth and birth it into existence. Now, when you're out, this is what I talk about. It's like merchandising your soul-given gifts. So you have your soul gifts, and they're also amplified by your skills and your talents, your experience and your mastery. So it's kind of like your soul gifts are your, it's like your genes, and your talents, your skills, your skills and your experience are like your epigenetics. So it's how your experience, your dedication, your 10, 100,000, it's not 10,000 hours, it's like 100,000 hours, how much you have applied that into your own mastery. This is the expression of how you create that soulful business. A very big part of this, though, is that you have that calling because you have that desire to express it. You're receiving it because there is a need out there in the world for it to be given, applied, handed out to somebody. This is the law of giving and receiving in fair exchange. It's the law of universal supply and demand. The fact that you're receiving and you have this aliveness, it's because somebody out there is in real need of it. So you have this vitality, it comes down into a vision, it births into reality. This is happening simultaneously out there in the world, but it is a part of marketing, is to attract people who want to have that. But just know that they are already out there. The desire is already there. It's just about articulating them. So much of what this soul mission is also what your soul match clients, the people who are meant to be receiving this, are going through. And when they receive it, there's an activation in those soul gifts that are applied with your, it's like, it's your effortless genius. So your genius is like your genes, and your gifts are like your soul skills. So when you have your genius and you have your gifts and they are activated by being received by somebody, then it creates abundance in the world. There's an impact that happens in that person's life. That abundance is often, it can be monetary, but it's often all the things that money can't buy. Because money is just the byproduct of the value that you put out in the world. So that abundance that goes out into the world because of the work and the gifts that you have bestowed upon somebody, that you have activated, now this gives you more energy again. So it's like it fills you back up at the top of your funnel, at the top of your spout. It's like, whoa, it's been received, it's created abundance. Often that's when the financial exchange happens. And this perpetual motion of receiving the soul calling, receiving the vision, receiving the vitality, letting it fall into a vision, bringing it out, making an offer, having it like being activated, received by somebody, having it digested through their system, and then create an impact in their life, abundance in their life, which is this perpetual energy of motion. That's what I see really through the vertical alignment of merchandising your soul-giving gifts, merchandising your effortless genius, and magnetizing the people who are meant to be receiving it. I see two different distinctions of who is meant to be receiving that. So there is your soul match clients, who are often a past version of you. You know, there's certain things that you've gone through in your journey as an entrepreneur, as a human, that you've worked through. And it's like you're climbing up a mountain. And even though you might know there's like it's like your step 6 on the mountain, and you know that there's 10 steps to go to get to the top of the mountain. Well, even though you know there's still so far to go, you can still offer people help and guidance who are maybe only on step 1 of the mountain or step 2 of the mountain. And you can easily help people go from 2 to 3 without it pulling you off your spot, to 2 to 4 without it pulling you off. I find that for people who are really strong with their soul match clients, they can even, they can hold step 6 and bring somebody all the way up from 2 to 3 to 4. Some people who are maybe still earlier on in their journey of being a leader, they might be on like step 4, and what they do is they help people go from 0 to like a half a step. So just the bravery of pulling one of their feet up to go on to step 1. It's really, really beautiful. But there's kind of a soul contract with soul match clients where they can pull you off, right? Because it's also, if you're like, they can activate your own shadows. So they can also take your own resources. And I guess that was the journey that I was on. I was really feeling it's kind of like coming in with rescuer energy as well, because you have been victimized by those issues in the past that you would never want anybody else to go through that. Now you're in the victim. Now you're in the rescuer. Now, if you're one of those spots, rescuer, victim, or aggressor, you will be all 3. So it creates drama. It creates drama in those relationships if you aren't really empowered. Soul match clients are meant to still be held at some level of arm's reach, because they create a rising tide. So this is when you are a leader of a movement of change. And there's an element of this work that means if you create a business or an offering that doesn't allow you to arise, it like doesn't allow you to outgrow it, it keeps you trapped there, then that rising tide will swallow you up. It will take all your oxygen away. It'll be like, this is so boring. This is not what I'm here for. This is not, this is a contracted version of success because I've neglected my own. I've been so focused on helping other people that I've neglected my own growth and my own emancipation. And it kind of like, it's like when somebody's drowning, right? When somebody's drowning, you want to make sure that you're staying up at a higher level so that you can pull them to safety. But if you jump in the water there with them, that's when you both drown, right? When they're sort of crawling all over you, clawing at you. So the other version of this, people who are attracted to your effortless genius and your soul gifts are your star match clients or opportunities. This is very much like a joint venture alliance. This is like you're on a mountain, they're on a mountain, or, maybe one of my star match alliances, she's in the ocean. She's a mermaid, right? I'm a mountain person. She's an ocean person. But it's like, you have equal but complementary powers and gifts. So you can easily go, hey, from this perspective, I can see you just need to lift your leg up and your backpack's falling off. And they can go, hey, thanks so much. Just so you know, there's a storm coming, or, watch out for falling rocks, that kind of thing. Star match alliances more like a butterfly that flaps its wings and creates a tsunami effect on the other side of the world. There is this, I'm going to say, like cataclysmic wildfire momentum that happens. It's like star match clients, star match your relationships. You can fall more deeply in love with yourself. You see yourself in the struggles. You have such beautiful heart-to-heart connections. A star match opportunity or alliance is like, it's cataclysmic. There's creative force there that turns into something new. Yeah, it evolves itself. It has this uncontrollable momentum to it because you're now bringing parts into your awareness that you didn't know were blind spots. These are often your highest potential clients. So basically, like I went from, I guess, selling like a $500 a month membership or mentorship to selling $30,000. Yeah, it's like I went from charging, $500 a month in a group program to charging $10,000 a month for one-on-one coaching. And then that ripple effect, I know, is still working and creating more alliance opportunities and more exponential growth, income opportunities with ease and with joy. When we're in a patriarchal system, when we're aligned to a contractive version of success, we are out of alignment. So there's an energy cost to the growth. And it means that's why you stay capped. Often that's when people are using income to make them feel good about themselves, as opposed to, I feel good and I love the work that I'm doing. And then as a byproduct and a result, money is manifesting around me. But again, I'm so deeply connected into the work, the relationships, the impact, the value that it's creating, then the income is something that you are grateful for, that you revere, that you use as like a conveyor belt. It's like its own energy frequency to bring amongst more, but it's not something to worship in itself. It's like, I say to people that I'm not religious, I'm spiritual, and the universe is my religion and life is my church. So money doesn't come into that. And I think when you're a soul-led entrepreneur and you've struggled with this, like money doesn't motivate me, then we can get really caught up with this. It's like, well, money doesn't motivate me, so how am I meant to do this? But when we can find the beautiful balance between the impact that we create and the money that is a byproduct of the impact that we create, we can, really champion it, celebrate it, but we never need to put it on a pedestal. So that is vertical alignment. I'll go next to horizontal alignment. Horizontal alignment is where you monetize your genius and you create, and using your gifts, your skills, and your talents, you create mesmerizing experiences for those people who experience your service. We all often have our own monetization blocks. And it's often very similar to the blocks in our soul mission. But there's a lot of what comes in here is like, there's not enough money, not enough joy. So this is basically a way of saying that I can have money or peace, but not both. So we think that we have to chase, we have to convince, we have to hunt things down, when if you've actually legitimately got something that will change somebody's life, they are already thirsty for it. They are already like wanting to drink it up. So you are just making sure that you are letting people know, hey, I've got this water and you're thirsty, you would love it. When we kind of are like hunting down success, this is when we get ourselves out of the place of exponential growth. So monetizing, I think there's a large part of the paradigm of success can only come with sacrifice, which, being in Australia, we are, I'm descended from one of the first settlers in Nerang. There's a historical village there from my first ancestor, and the Smith Street motorway is named after them. And there's like this little hut where she had 10 children and had a like close relationship with the Aboriginal people down there. It's like, obviously we were settlers to this land. If you're not Aboriginal, then you are a settler. And there's this part there where we had to, there was valor in the struggle. We had to struggle in order to survive. It would have been a very difficult period, but we are now the answers to our ancestors' prayers. So we don't have to keep staying in this paradigm of success equals hard work, that if it comes easy, then it's not worthy of it, that we're not deserving of it. We don't have to do those like dudes that go hustle and grind and you only need to sleep 3 hours. Like, we don't have to do that to prove ourselves worthy of the abundance that we create. When you are in alignment with your soul-given gifts, when you are expressing your effortless genius, it's because it's just like a battery, the negative and the positive ends of a battery. It's because there are people out there wanting to receive it, needing to receive it. So like a real infatuation with your work, and you don't have to worry about the abundance and the impact that is created from it. So monetization has its own version, and this is very much about what we are promising, what we're offering, how we are pricing it, how we are packaging it. Is it going to make us feel, does it make us feel heavy? Does it make us feel alive? And then also, what are we exchanging? How are we delivering on that? Are we making sure that what we're promising, we are delivering? Are we creating mesmerizing experiences for the people who give us money? So when that is all in alignment, our congruence, our horizontal axes, now we get to meet in the middle. The intersection of this is integrity. And this is integrity, like we are also, we are building a house of bricks and not a house of sticks. It's that kind of integrity. It's making sure that we are coming from a place of strength as well as moral and integrity. Morally and ethically, we're doing the right things. When we have this power of integrity, now it's like, we have a very sharp, pinpoint, precise way to access our version of heaven on earth. It's a cross. I don't remember which cross it's called, but it's a symbol. If you think about, those 4 concentric circles I was talking about, from small to big, and then a cross that goes through the middle of it. This is actually a symbol in different cultures, which I can't find just right now. That means actually the portal between heaven and earth. And when we have this access of this integrity, imagine that it kind of like folds in on itself, and it can be the tip or the bottom of the spinning top. If you create this as like a 3D portal, now matter, energy, our intentions, our frequency, our generosity, our spirit, our heart, our relationships, they all start to funnel down into this point of integrity. So now imagine that this is our spinning top. Now imagine that this is a spinning top that can create perpetual motion through the little pinpoint. I've just got a crystal shard here, and I'm looking at the crystal shard. And when we have a really sharp, pinpoint, precise point of integrity, the spinning top can, when we apply centrifugal force to it, it creates abundance. It creates perpetual motion. It creates energy that doesn't need much to keep moving. This is where we have power. This is where forcing turns into power. You can't force it around. It's going to exhaust itself. It's continual, perpetual movement, momentum that, if you think about it, it's like a diamond drill. This is the way I look at it. It's a diamond drill that is so sharp, it can bore through rock. But imagine that it's also a crystal. So there is light that radiates and refracts through this rainbow light, all the colors of the universe. And imagine that that point is like it's like a painting tip. It's a diamond tip, and it's creating this ripple effect of beautiful colors. This is the spirit of creation. This is all that ever was, all that ever will be. When we have this pinpoint, we are channeling divine consciousness. It's creating a ripple effect, so within as without. The joy you feel within, the joy you bestow to others, the abundance you attract within is the abundance you give to others. Who you are, the universe doesn't bring you what you want, it brings you who you are. And this state of reverence for the world around you is what is living Pono. Pono is also the word for truth. You think about the strength of integrity and the potency of truth, and how that can be a everlasting ripple effect for good out into the world. Pono, living in righteous balance with the world around you. When you are a soul-led entrepreneur, you know that it's part of also, the Aboriginals, when the Europeans, white men, were coming and, invading them and committing all these atrocities, then, they also understood the universal law of what you do to others will happen to you as well. So, in Aboriginal custom, then if you take the vessel of another without their permission, then they get to inherit yours, and come back through time, back through lives, just piggybacking on your vessel. So they understood that if I take something from you that wasn't offered, I will have to give it back to you in this life or the next. There is this sacred reverence to the world around you where, like, what's the point of making $300,000 a month if your marriage is on the rocks and your child doesn't know you, right? We understand that. We know that as soul-led entrepreneurs. But our work here is now to bravely forge forward and seek out the blind spots in our environment, in our skill set, that is stopping us from bestowing the planet with our goodness, with this divine knowing that we have. Like, this is a divine responsibility. This is our role in the natural order of things, to pass this knowledge on, to pass your gifts on, to be of service, whilst also recognizing that it doesn't mean that you have to sacrifice and be a servant to your soul calling, that the good that you do out in the world should and does reflect the abundance that you create out there. Just want to pay respects to all the ancestors, the past, the present, the emerging, being here on the sacred land of the Gubbi Gubbi tribe in the Glasshouse Mountains. Very much feel the reverence, the wisdom, the spirit that's coming through this transmission. Thank you so much here for listening to it. I think, there's so much to be learnt. There's so much to be learnt from that rainbow, that refracted light that goes through a crystal, and to look at yourself and recognize, are you a pure vessel for this light to transmit through to you? Because ultimately that's what you're doing when you are bringing your soul calling from higher planes into this physical body. It's like you're a lighthouse, right? So you want to be illuminated yourself, and that requires you to clear debris, energetic debris, emotional debris, stuck emotions, stuck energy, toxins. It requires you to detoxify so that you can receive that illumination, inspiration of the Holy Spirit, of our, divine light. I feel like that's the only reason we ever come here is to be the channel for that light, the Holy Spirit of God. And that's God in, whatever God is for you. For me, God is in nature. God is in the plants. God is in what made my babies, what makes a baby. God is in, the animals. It's all around me. God is in the universe. God for me isn't, I'm going to say a sky daddy, right? God isn't there passing judgment up in the sky like a Santa Claus writing out a list of naughty and nice. So the Holy Spirit of God, when it's in that when it's in that pure light, that's what I believe we have come here to be and do, is be illuminated by that. And the beautiful part is that when we also remove the debris from our lighthouse that allows us to shine that light out into the world, that's the work that so much of the plant medicine has done for me. It's what I do for others, structurally, strategically, in their business, in their being, because that light that illuminates the path for others. When you are a beacon of hope and truth and integrity for others, it's like, it's no point just being a beacon of hope and a beacon of light for what's possible. You also have to have the integrity. There has to be land there, right? You have to be able to actually support people, hold people, be strong enough to hold them. And when we expand that light of the lighthouse out into the mist, then there are people out there who are lost, who are in the dark, who need to find their way home. This is that divine, really recognizing your role in the natural order of all things, your divine role and the natural order of all things, so that you are not just illuminating yourself. It's so that you are being a beacon of hope for others to find their way too. And that's the soul purpose. That's the journey of the soul entrepreneur. And when you feel that ripple effect of just being in total alignment, being in total congruence, there's a ripple effect of like, whoa. That's what it looks like for me, going in, so within, so without, so within, so without. And it's a really, really beautiful thing to be and to do, so that, anything that your heart's desires is really just about your focused intention, not on the lack of you missing it and wanting it. It's like falling in love and caressing what you already have so you can attract more of it. That was good fun. Appreciate you for your for the questions. My friend Bay for asking questions. My friend Jason for for activating those truths. I think when you really surrender in and you recognize that it's harder, it causes more harm to like grip on to your limitations, to your suffering, to the idea that, you have to justify your existence by your own pious suffering. Thinking that suffering brings you closer to godliness. No. I've been unpacking this idea of guilty pleasure. It's like, why is pleasure guilty, right? What's this rot that they showed us? I think what I'm going to leave, the thought I'll leave with you is what the Hindu goddesses Kali and Lakshmi and Dakinis bring to me, and that is that pleasure is the portal between worlds. So follow your pleasure, follow your joy, allow it to be your compass, surrender into it, because it's actually way easier to surrender into the knowing that everything you've ever asked for, wanted to experience, and calling in is already lined up for you, and it's only about receiving. It's way easier and way less effort to surrender into that truth than constantly trying to struggle and hold on and grip onto our limitations, our sufferings, our limiting beliefs, our pain, our contractions. So what is the joy you can follow? What is the compass dialing up to? Where can you feel the pleasure in your body? And how is it opening up into a new world, a new existence, a new trajectory where you are that magnetically charismatic leader for those people who have who you've come here to be and who you've come here to serve, and the impact you've come here to create on the planet as your divine role in the natural order of all things. Ka kite. Aroha nui. We'll see you soon. I'll close this down. Kia hora te marino, kia whakapapa Pono mu te moana, he hurahai, he huraha, he hurarahi mātātou. He hurarahi mātātou. I te rangi nei, aroha atu, aroha mai, tātou katoa, hui e tā ki e, which means may peace be widespread. May the sea be like greenstone, a pathway for us all this day. Love returned, love received for one another. Bind us all together. Aroha nui, ka kite. Bye for now. Kia orana, me taki aata. Bianca Iono here from One Aligned Entrepreneur, changing the world by healing one person at a time. Thank you so much for listening to my podcast, Healthy, Wealthy, and Living Pono. If you'd like to know more about working with me, the Scale with Soul 12-week program where you will shift any limitations to success, recalibrate to true wealth, and embody your most authentic and unapologetic power. Just like Courtney, who went from selling $110 per hour coaching sessions to selling $50,000 worth of programs within 8 weeks. Like Jen, who doubled her monthly targets with no extra effort, whilst also dropping a day of work, where the more deeply present she became with her family, the more money that she made. Like Elle, who went from feeling stuck and overwhelmed and very under-resourced to closing $115,000 worth of packages within 24 hours. Like Lissy, who went from selling $700 programs to $13,000 packages and sold the first 3 within 37 hours. Like Naomi, who sold her very first brand new high ticket program within 24 hours and enrolled 2 more within the next 7 days, taking deposits that were more than her previous package in total. If you'd like to know more about how you can explode your revenue without the emotional roller coaster or burnout, please email info@biancaa.com with the word power, or you can complete my limitless potential diagnostic by going to www.biancaa.com/diagnostic. This is where you will fill out the diagnostic, takes about 2 minutes. I will then contact you with a customized report and a blueprint of your conscious blocks and your main focus points. Then we will do a complimentary reading where I'll show you the subconscious, emotional, and energetic blocks that are currently out of alignment. And then we'll map out your unique pathway to creating true wealth and success on your terms. Check it out. Look forward to hearing from you. Ka kite. Talk to you soon. Bye for now.